episode of Two Hags Chinwag. I'm Susie.
I'm Trish.
So we're doing this one by Zoom again, and we apologize for that. We were supposed to get together on the weekend, but this, that, and the other. So unfortunately, when we record Zoom, it only shows us one at a time. So you can't see me making faces at Trish when she talks. That's too bad. It's not bad faces, it's good faces. So today's topic is all about divination, and we're going to talk about what it means to us and ways that we practice. And, as always, this is just our opinion and how we view things, and we always welcome your comments and questions for sure. So, what do you think, Trish?
Yeah, for sure. So, uh, I guess we were just going to approach it at like an encompassing thing. So, I guess to start off, uh, I've seen a lot on the internet that there's this sort of sense of people not being able to do divination, like they either don't have the skill or they're not spiritual enough or that kind of thing. And I personally wanted to really dispel that because for me, that's just a pile of bullshit, really.
Mm-hmm.
It's gatekeeping. I
Mm-hmm.
think that everybody can do divination. Unless you're a hardcore Christian, then you wouldn't do divination.
Burner, she's a witch.
So, the I don't like when people say things like, "Oh, I have this particular skill or talent, and I'm special because of it," right? So that just kind of grinds my gears a lot.
Mm, absolutely. Goodness.
Yeah. What do you think?
I mean, unfortunately, I've come across in the spiritual community people who lead from ego.
Yeah.
And I find that very sad because you're really doing yourself a disservice as well as the rest of the, muggles or whatever you want to say, for people who, don't understand it. When you lead from a place of ego and not being your true authentic self, you're not giving a true reading. So, you don't have to have like, these big wow reveal moments. It's just a discussion between two people and, trying to interpret life and find ways past obstacles.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Well, actually, that kind of segues into like the what part of it. So, when you were talking, um, I kind of got the impression that it seemed more like a conversation between people um, for divination. So, what does divination actually mean to you? Like, well, how would you define it?
I think it's reading signs and patterns, and then it ignites within your subconscious something that you already knew. I think that we all know the answers, they're all within us, and it's just a matter of revealing it. So it doesn't mean anything for me to speak words unless it resonates with you as the querent.
Mhm.
What do you think?
Um, yeah, I think that is definitely a big part of it. I think there's a big psychological
Yeah.
component to it,
Yes.
um, and I think there's a like a connecting to your subconscious through symbolisms and signs and art and that kind of thing. Um, but I think I would take it another step beyond that and say that these signs and whatnot, sometimes they just are signs from the mundane that spark this, your subconscious or even the collective consciousness, but sometimes, and I think a lot of times, it comes from spirit, like source, the interspirit net. Know
Yes.
what you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I feel like it's not just a psychological thing. I think it's a very much a spiritual thing, um, because a lot of times when we're doing divination, we're asking guidance from ancestors or divinity. Um, so yeah, I I just think that the spiritual component for me is a is a really big part of it,
Mm.
and but also the psychology, the science behind it is
Hmm.
a big part of it.
Absolutely. And I think because I'm such a practical, grounded person that I tend to lead forward with the psychological and the patterns and the symbology. And then when those sparks of inspired information come to me, it's so special. Like I really love it because it does, as you say, it does come from a place of divinity, and it comes from spirit. And you're tapping in, whether you're tapping into the Akashic records or the you know interwebs or of connectivity that we have. It's so special, and I really treasure those moments, and I value them very much. I don't i don't promise those when I do readings. Like
Uh-huh.
I don't make any claims.
Right.
Oh, I don't say I'm a psychic medium, or you know I'm gonna tell you how many children you're gonna have, or things like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm more comfortable just being a practical person, and we're going to talk about, you know, what obstacles you have and ways that you can be, live a better life and tap into your higher self. Because I think that's comfortable for me, and then it sort of starts things off. And if divine inspiration comes, then that's the icing.
I see. Okay. So when, for example, when you do your weekly tarot readings, your energy readings, where, so the cards that come up randomly, I guess you could say, or the cards that come up, why do you think they come up? Is it just happenstance and you interpret it because it's tapping into something in your psychology? Or do you feel that something guided those cards to come up?
I'm glad you asked that because not the last one, but I think the one before, I was having a lot of trouble connecting, and I was doubting myself. And I just do them live. The cards come up, I flip them over, I read them. But this one, I just kept reshuffling them, but the same cards kept coming. So there was maybe a variation of one or two cards and maybe the order that they came up in, but I would shuffle and the same cards would come up. So obviously the message needed to come across. And
Right.
I always do it, for the collective and for the highest good. And, I do a little prayer and blessing and everything because I want to make sure that the reading is not for me or about me. It's for everybody. But when when you're shuffling and the same cards come up, that says to me that it's being divinely guided.
Right. Right. So if you just shuffled it once and you laid out your cards, would you feel still that that was divinely guided, or you're just interpreting the symbolism of the cards?
I always feel that it's divinely guided, even if I the normal way I do them is just there's the cards. I don't flip them over until I hit record.
Okay.
So
That,
it's
yeah.
so I trust, right? I trust that what's coming up is what's meant to be. But that time that I was doubting myself, and I wasn't in a good frame of mind, and I was saging. I was, I was trying to meditate and trying to ground and all of that. But you know, Obviously, I should not have doubted myself because the same cards kept coming up.
Yeah. Yeah. I just find that really interesting. If I keep looking over here, there's a chipmunk that keeps running like right next to me. Yeah. Was that the time that you said you had a glass of wine and you felt like,
Maybe that's what it was. Yes, which leads to the topic. Yes, we had a discussion about that, you and I, about
yeah,
not mixing spirits with spirit because alcohol is a depressant
right.
and it can, I think, dampen your woo-woo, right?
Yeah.
It can interfere with your connectivity. Yes, thank you for reminding me of that. I was
Yeah.
forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a okay. Because I feel that it's always divinely inspired, which
Hmm.
actually goes into my topic of my cauldron boiling and bubbling over. So I'll talk about that a little bit later. But yeah, I don't know. I just think it's all divine or magic. It's all spiritual and magic to
Mm.
me. Um, yeah. So yeah, I guess that's how I would define divination. So why do divination? Why do you think we should even bother with it? I'm just going to lead in with this first though. So Christians, they see no need to do divination. Well, one, it's frowned upon, right? But um, but also they just say, you know what? I just go straight to the source, right? I just go to God and I ask my questions or whatever it is, right? I don't, and I just leave everything up to God, the future, and that kind of thing. So, um, so why should we be even considering doing divination? Do you think?
That is an excellent question. And for me, it comes down to sovereignty. So I want to have control. I want to have a say in my life. I think there's just an inherent danger in giving up your power to a higher power. I don't ascribe to that myself. So I know that there's things out of my control, obviously. What I'm saying is I give the power to myself to divine for me. And if you ask me to do it for you, I'm honored to do it for you. But I think that if we just say, I'm going to give it all up to God, I mean, there's sometimes I say, Jesus, take the wheel because I'm just like, I got no control. Things are crazy. Um, but for me, that's, one of the very basic tenets of witchcraft is sovereignty.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And why? Um, well, here's a question. Do you ask questions about the future?
This is my thing. I 100% believe in the Akashic records that everything that ever has been, will be, is all up there in the Hall of Records. What I'm meant to know is what I'm meant to know. And that's why I don't advertise myself as a psychic or a psychic medium. I'm not comfortable with that because of self-fulfilling prophecy or, planting ideas in somebody's head and then that influences them that may be coming from ego instead of spirit.
Right.
Me, there's such a fine line there that I don't want to walk. I don't want to step over that.
Right. I had a reading once. I had a tarot reading once at Little Mysteries, and the guy, I can't remember any of the reading except for this one thing. And he said to me that he said, you're never going to be rich. You're just always going to be mediocre income, like
Wow.
mediocre income. Yeah.
Yikes.
And, and that's what it's been in my past lives, according to him too. And that always stuck with me because, well, at the time I was like, yeah, that sounds about right. Cause I don't make a lot of money, and it's still that way, right? Like
Hmm.
money is definitely one of my big obstacles. And um so I think back on that, it's like, did he plant a seed, or did he actually know exactly the truth? Is it the truth, or is it self-fulfilling prophecy, like you said? Yeah. Not that I'm poor or anything, but he just said I'm just going to be of average income, which,
Hmm.
you know, yeah,
Well, it's not something that you want to hear,
not
but
really.
if it stuck with you, I think it stuck with you because you heard the truth of it.
Right. Yeah.
I'm not that I want you to just be average income. I, I wish abundance for everyone.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's disappointing. Thanks for that reading. Right?
Right. I mean, it's like, oh, and it's like, I think at the time it was like $25 or something for like a 10-minute reading. Well,
This is
here's
my own,
more of my money.
there's your self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah. If I were rich, I wouldn't even tip you.
But I hear a lot of stories from people, and it breaks my heart, that they've had these readings where it's been doom and gloom and, really hard things to hear. And again, it's up to me as the person getting the reading to feel whether it's true or not.
Yeah.
And that segues into my other question, that I had mentioned to you before we got on the call. Can you do divination with no tools? And my answer is yes. And I'll tell you how I do it. And it's all to do with resonating and hearing the truth. Is I will say something, and then I'll go, that's not quite right. Like it doesn't feel right in my mouth. Right? So it's almost like I'm cooking a stew and I'm tasting it. And I'm like, no, there's something missing. Got to add in a little turmeric or something. So I kind of then, I'm going to shift gears a little bit and I'm going to say something else. And now I feel like I'm more on the track. Right? Do you know what I mean?
Are we? So you're just speaking, you're not doing um, like a divination with tarot or anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
I'm just having
So,
a conversation with somebody and I say something. I go, that's not what I want to say to this person. That's not what I'm feeling through my intuition.
right. Yeah. Yeah. I think, oh God, I think I got bit by a mosquito.
Uh,
I have, uh, I have citronella candles burning around me, but I think one got through the protective barrier. Um, anyway, yeah. Well, yeah, that actually does sort of segue into the how, like how do you do divination? Um, well, actually, maybe we'll start with the where, and because for me, like, do you find that you need to have a setup? Do you need to get into the sort of the a mood, or do you have a sort of ritual that you do before you do any sort of divination?
Absolutely. And of course it depends too. I mean, um, you know, how in depth is the reading going to be? Am I home? Am I in somebody's house and I'm just get my necklace as a pendulum or something? But I do really enjoy ritual and I enjoy getting set up. Like when I do my weekly readings, You know, I've got my little tray with all my things in it. I love my things, right? My sage and my candle and my crystals and, you know, the whole bit. And I think that's just all part of, you know, connecting. You want to, you know, do your meditative breathing, you want to be grounded, not have a glass of wine. You know, just I love that preparation. It just puts me in that mindset. It's the same as when you're going out somewhere and you're doing your hair and putting on makeup and putting on something pretty. It's that same sort of thing. It gets you into that mindset so that you can present yourself the way that, you know, you want to and the way that you think is going to better connect you with people.
Yeah. So your way is to like light sage. Do you cast any sort of protective circle? Um, do you, you know, to just, yeah,
I do when I'm with someone. If I'm just doing the weekly energy readings or I'm just doing something for myself, um, I I may or may not, but definitely when I'm with someone or more than one person, I will definitely put protection around us.
right. Yeah. I think I'm the same way. If I'm looking at my cards or not always my pendulum, because I find my pendulum is just something you want a quick answer to,
Mm-mm.
you know. But but I sometimes it's nice it, to get in that sort of mood, right? Um, so I can't burn incense in the house, but I like to light candles and I like to make a tea, you know, and that's something that if you want to do divination, there are certain herbs that help you sort
Mm.
of open up your mind
Mm-hmm.
for that, sort of like mugwort,
Mm-hmm.
or anything that relaxes you, like lavender and chamomile,
Mm-hmm.
or you know, if you do some weed or something, maybe not go too crazy with it,
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think so. That's kind of part of my ritual too. Is just making a nice tea, lighting a candle, setting up my space. Um, sometimes I'll do like almost like a Wiccan type casting of circles and calling in the watchtowers kind of thing. And
Mm.
sometimes I just sort of I'll take like I have my wand or whatever, and I'll just draw a circle.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, and I like doing that. Um, but I find that for the most part, my way of receiving messages from the spirit world is through nature, through
Mm.
um, nature signs, animal signs, um, and dreams. That's usually my way of getting information from spirit, I guess. The cards too, but yeah, that's something I wanted to talk about is like all the different methods of
Mm-hmm.
divination. So what are your methods that you like to use?
I like to read tea leaves. I find that's a very gentle energy, and I really tap into my ancestors that way. I find it like a grandmother energy. So I love doing tea leaf readings. Um, I've had some really good experiences with tea leaf, and I think everyone knows I love tarot. Pendulum, I tend to use more for myself than I would for other people.
Yeah,
And what else? I mean, I do numerology for people. I don't always get like messages when I do numerology, but I like to add it in as a little almost like an extra or a little more information, and it helps me to understand who that person is when I see what their life path number is. But
okay.
I think that's it. I've tried scrying. It takes a lot
Yeah.
of concentration, and I think we all know that's, you know, that's a lot of work.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's I kind of do a little bit of all of it. Um, like I said, the pendulum is more for a quick yes no kind of answer, or yeah, I guess it just kind of comes down to yes no, or which direction or whatever, something
Mm-hmm.
very um, simple.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I know I've shown this before, but maybe new people are here. But if you don't know what a pendulum is, so this is a pendulum. Um, so yeah, you just hold it and then ask for ask your question, but you have to do some research. Like you have to cleanse it and charge it and program it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a pendulum. That's one way. The pendulum you can use, like you can just do yes, no, or go straight, go back, go sideways, or you can make like a chart for it and ask a question, and it can have letters. It can spell out things, or you can have different answers, possible answers, and they can swing to whatever direction. So a pendulum is good for that. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
why. I just like having the pendulum less for divination and more for company. Does that make sense?
Like a companion company?
Yeah, kind of like almost like a talisman in a way.
Mm,
You
gotcha.
know, not so much a. It is a tool, but I just like having it with me because it feels like I have ancestors with me through it.
Yes.
It's almost like
Like a
a con-
conduit?
yeah, like a conduit or a container or something. I don't know. I don't
Do, 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 do. Genie in a bottle. Um, I met a man who is a dowser, and he can scan your body with a pendulum or dowsing rods, to see. So he knows when you've had interruptions in your flow, so like surgery, and
know.
he can knit the energy back together because he says when you've had surgery, it leaves kind of a hole in your spirit, and so he knits it back up for you.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
it's really,
cool.
yeah, it was really neat. He did
Yeah.
help my vertigo for about a week before it went back to being bad again. But anyway, I had a week of relief. It was nice. So
Yeah.
yeah, I need somebody to be able to do that. Teach someone to do it for me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. Um, well, we talked about the other forms. We talked about uh, like decks, so like tarot decks and oracle decks. And I know you love the tarot, and I want to love the tarot. I want to. There's something holding me back with it. I don't know what it is, because I was really excited when I got this deck, and I charged it, I cleansed it, and I I am just not connecting with it. I don't know.
That's interesting. I don't know if you feel things in your body, but sometimes I feel things in my body when someone is speaking, and I felt something very heavy, like a block. So I'd like to explore that with you, try to release that block.
With the tarot.
Yeah, I really feel it right here. Oh, that's your third eye.
Okay.
Okay. All right. We'll have to talk about that off camera. That's crazy.
Interesting, yeah.
Yeah,
Because
let that
when
go.
when it comes to oracle cards, I really love the oracle cards. I
I find oracle cards are much gentler energy. I think tarot, like the mysticism of tarot, you need to, yeah, you need to explore that. You need to connect with that.
right. And then I thought, well, maybe it's the imagery, you know, like there's a couple decks that I'm One's being released in September and one's being released in October, and they're from what I can tell, they're speaking to me image wise. So I'm going to try those, and if I still can't connect with tarot, um, I don't know. We'll talk.
Yes, we will. And we've talked before about, participating in one of my classes. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, that's right.
we'll have to find a little group to do that with.
Um, oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. I was just scanning my notes here to see if there was
Okay.
anything I wanted to.
So the other, because you mentioned scrying. Um, I actually quite enjoy scrying. I so you can scry so many different ways, right? You can scry uh, water. You
Mhm.
know, you can just have like a bowl of water, um, or you can just look at a body of water and just let your mind go, and either you'll receive messages um, in your mind, or sometimes you actually see visions in things. And I've had that. I've had it both ways. And I had a crystal ball a long time ago. And actually, I think we wanted to talk about the good and the bad things
Mhm.
with divination.
Mhm.
Uh, but it was really weird because I was scrying in this crystal ball, and my husband at the time, I saw my husband. I was like, I can't even say I was up high in the sky. I was the sky.
Wow.
So, but I could see down, and my husband was golfing, and I was like, what the hell? He hates golfing, right? It's like this is making no sense to me. But all what I did get from that is like, this is what it's like to be one with divinity.
Mm.
I don't, that's what I got from it. It wasn't a bad experience, but it confused me. It was like, why is my husband golfing? Because he hates it, right? But anyway, um, but I have this obsidian, and I always have it by the front door, so it serves a couple purposes.
Mm.
I can I can scry with it, but it has, I don't know if you can see it on camera. Do you see
Yeah.
the so I call this the all-knowing eye, and so sometimes I'll scry into that eye, but a lot of times I just have this by the front door so that it can keep an eye on the door. So
Love it. Love it.
it's my like my magical alarm system.
Mm.
Yeah, but you can scry fire like flames if you're, you
Mhm.
know, looking in a candle, and you can um or if you're having a fire in your fire pit. um yeah, or yeah, it's kind of, but like my video that I did yesterday for the Wednesday reading, I just walked in nature. I wasn't sure if anything would jump out at me or not, and something did. And I took that as a sign from divinity for our subscribers, like a message for our subscribers. So um, that, to be honest, is usually the way I operate. The way I do divination is
Mm.
just waiting for signs, or you know, just looking, not even looking hard for signs, but just being open to it all the time. That's that's the big thing. Yeah.
Absolutely. Can I segue that into a story?
Yeah.
So one time I was out of my mind and I volunteered to do some speed readings at a fundraiser for a spiritual group. First and only, last time. So we only had 15 minutes and I chose to do tea leaf readings. I was not thinking. So anyway, this lady came in and she came in like this. She was not a happy camper. She was not happy with her life. And she wanted me to tell her everything was going to be rosy. I felt a lot of pressure from her. So, what I wanted to say was when you come into a reading, come in with an open mind,
Right.
be open to hear, be open to see. And, you know, it's such a sacred exchange between the reader and the querent that, she really made me feel bad. And I couldn't give her a good reading with the teacup. So I had playing cards with me and I offered to do like just a quick to see how long. So she had lost her job and she was really bitter. So I pulled some cards and I said, within such and such amount of time, things will turn around or whatever. She was somewhat mollified, but she asked for her money back. It was $20. She asked for it back.
Oh,
This was a fundraiser.
really?
And I didn't give her what she wanted. She was not happy.
Wow.
Yeah. So, just be aware, like just be responsible for the energy that you bring to the room, both as the reader and the querent, right? So
Yeah.
she put this
Yeah.
pressure on me. I barely could get anything out. And then, just having this kind of attitude, right? It's
Yeah.
not gonna it's not
Yeah.
doing any good for either of us.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I think if I would have been in that position, I would have said like, no can do. Sorry. Move on to the next speed round. Yeah, because why are you there? Like,
Mm.
why are you there if you're going to be closed off? I don't know. Is there anything else you wanted to add for the divination part?
I think that covers all of my notes. I
Yeah,
just wanted to add to what you had started saying at the beginning of the podcast about, people thinking they can't.
yeah,
So, they go to someone else to give them a
hmm,
reading, which is
yeah.
lovely, but you can. As I said, you have all the answers inside of you. You need the confidence and you need the sovereignty to say, I'm in control. I can make the decisions. I can recognize the patterns in my life and, you know, where I'm going off track. And, I always talk about leveling up, right? So for me, the tarot is about the hero's journey, overcoming obstacles, self awareness, and then self actualization. When you know better, you do better. And I think that, we all need to be gentle with ourselves and forgive ourselves for, you know, decisions and actions that we've made when we didn't know any better, like our
Yeah,
younger, you know,
yeah,
I
yeah.
was really naive when I was younger. But I just want people to know that if you want to explore divination, please do because we are all gifted. We all have the power and the ability.
So this kind of ties in with my what makes my cauldron boil and bubble over. Um, so I was listening to a podcast, and I I actually stopped following this person, not because he's anything bad or anything, but there's just there's just something about his philosophy on magic and witchcraft or whatever that just doesn't quite sit right with me.
Hmm.
But one of the things that he constantly repeats um, on Instagram and in his on his YouTube podcast is mundane, the mundane before magic. So when you were talking before, I thought, oh, Susie might feel this way too, because because uh just the way you were talking, and I was like, well, all right, well, I'm I'm still going to talk about how I feel about this. But anyway, um, I always there's something about that. So okay, so this was one of the examples he used. It's like, so you're walking along and you see a crow, and he's like, people will go crazy and say, oh, it's a crow, it's a sign, it's this, it's that. He said, always put mundane before magic. A crow is just a crow. And
Oh.
yeah, so, and if
Mm.
there's something that stands out about the crow, then explore the magical. And I just thought, see, I don't necessarily agree with that, because I feel like everything is magical, and it's just how deep and how far you go along with it. So, yeah, so it's just a crow that's flying overhead. But does that spark something inside of me that makes me feel something magical is happening? Yeah. Like, and maybe that takes practice, or maybe some people would think that's crazy. That's crazy talk, because sometimes a crow is just a crow. But for me, if I see a crow flying overhead, to me, that's something magical. And it is something that I can either decide to explore spiritually, because I believe it's a message, right? I I see messages on almost everything. And I just I just worry when people say mundane before magic or science before magic, that they're closing their spirit off. They're closing their third eye. They're um, not opening up to the spiritual, the inter spirit web, the spiritual realm. Like when I did that video yesterday, a tree was creaking. It was creaking, and there was no breeze. So why was it creaking? Well, maybe there was a bit of a breeze, or maybe there was, a branch that was slipping or something. I don't know. But it doesn't matter to me,
Mm.
because to me, that was just the perfect, there was a timing to it. There was an openness in my spirit, because I asked for for a message for the subscribers, and that's what happened. It happened, like,
Hmm.
so. I'm not going to dismiss it because there's an explanation for it, even though for this particular situation, I didn't see an explanation for it. But even if there was one, it doesn't matter what caused it to do it at that time. That to
Hmm.
me was divine, that was spirit, that came from either the Fey folk were playing around, or that was divinity sending a message, or it was the land spirits of my woods. I don't know. Doesn't matter, right?
No, I loved the look on your face when you were walking and then you heard the tree and you're right? Like you just lit right up and you were so excited. And that's to me magical because it took you out of the mundane and
Yeah.
into the magical. But I guess I can kind of see what he's saying. I don't agree with it, but I can understand it because I see so many people they want everything to be a sign. They want to have meaning in their life,
Mm-hmm.
but instead of exploring it and going inwards and thinking about it, they just want that bright shiny thing. They want that instant gratification. They want that instant validation. And it's I have a friend who um she posts up a picture of her foam in her coffee cup and asks people to, she'll ask a question, say, what do you divine from this image? And people will invariably just turn it to themselves.
Oh, okay.
And she's just asking people to use their intuition to answer a question, which is, sometimes the point of divination, right? You're trying to divine an answer and you're encouraging people to put their input in. But people just, they want to talk about themselves, they want to see what they want to see, and they want their lives to be magical and meaningful, but it's external.
Right.
So what you're saying is, yes, everything can be magical if that's how you see it, and that it speaks to you and it means something to you, right? So
Yeah.
yes, it annoys me when people want the scientific explanation. The tree was creaking because blah blah blah. That's great, but you're really denying yourself that joy and that wonder. That was the look on your face.
Yeah.
Why would anyone want to deny that? It's that sense of wonder and that joy and that, you know, feeling like you're connected to something that's a little bit bigger than just a squeaky tree.
Yeah. I think that's the thing that um like I'm a very practical person too. And but at the same time, I refuse to lose my childhood wonder at at the world. Like I can't I if I do that, I may as well be dead.
Mm,
Like I can't I can't go there. Um I when I'm in nature or I don't know, doesn't even have to be in nature sometimes. Sometimes I'll be walking in Halifax and something happens and it's like, wow, I feel like that was like a little message to me or something. Um, what's the word? There's no such things as coincidence. That it's all like
mm,
uh,
mm. Synchronicities.
synchronicities,
Yeah.
serendipities.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I think that's sort of how I always look at things. It's that wonder. I always have that wonder. What what's beyond that particular incident or word that somebody said, or some sometimes I can go down dark holes that way.
Yeah.
But 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 that's the price I pay, I guess, to keep that wonderment. But yeah, and I
Well, thank
think
you
that's
for reminding me of that.
yeah.
I appreciate that.
I think divination is that. It's that childhood wonder, you know. And that's why I want to love the tarot so much because I look at the imagery and I feel that childhood wonderment. I don't know. Anyway,
It's us in the closet in the apartment on Lakecrest Drive with that little witchcraft book, right? Poring
right.
over that and wanting to, know all the mysteries and to be connected to that, right? Like
Yeah.
that's one of my memories of you is us in the closet looking at that little book, right?
Yeah. Yeah. God.
That's awesome. And the other thing I wanted to remind people is practice.
Yes.
So whether you're just drawing one card a day or just doing it on the weekends, just practice. Just
Yeah.
just pick up the cards, follow your intuition, take a class, connect with other people. Just start doing readings for people
Yeah.
you're comfortable with, friends and family. Just start doing it.
Yeah. I agree. Um I think a big problem too is, focus, right? Like for scrying and that kind of thing,
Mm,
focus is very hard.
mm,
So, don't get discouraged if you can only do it for like 10 seconds, right? Before your brain wanders off. but pay attention to where it's wandering off to
Hmm.
as well, right? Because there could be something in there. It may not be this. See, now I got to interrupt myself because I'm just looking over here. I'm going to turn it around. I don't know if this is going to show on the camera.
Yeah, I can see it, but I don't know if our viewers can see it.
I don't know if I can. So, you see that there?
Yeah.
From my perspective here, that looks like a major portal. I
Oh,
wish I could
oh.
zoom it in. I can't zoom it in on Zoom. That's that seems dumb, doesn't it?
It's counterintuitive right there.
But anyway, so I was just looking just beyond the camera here, and there's like this tunnel into the woods. The way the light is hitting it, like I just
Mm.
want to go in there. You know what I mean? Like I feel like if I go in there, I'm entering a different dimension. So
Well, leave an anchor because I don't want you to go away with the fairies and not come back. Get that touchstone. Um, a couple other things I remembered for divination, automatic writing.
oh yeah, yeah,
So yeah, my friend Vicky, she will do that when we're in our circle doing readings. She'll just be writing away. She's a Gemini, so writing comes naturally, right? They're the communicators. Um, and then some people like runes, like reading runes,
yeah,
casting the bones,
yeah,
that kind of thing. Very
yeah,
fascinating.
yeah,
There's just so many ways to connect,
yeah,
and just try something until you really feel connected with something. And you don't have to do tarot because tarot is so popular, or
yeah,
everyone has tarot. Do what connects you. And
yeah.
there's just so many. We'll think afterwards, like we always do. Like I have a whole other subject for dreams again, right? There's so many things that,
I know, me too.
yeah, we have to do a follow-up to that. But yeah,
Yeah.
there's just so many. Like my friend Nancy, she reads feathers,
Okay. Yeah.
right? So, you know, you name it, it's out there, like signs and symbols. And
Yeah. So that's
uh,
it for me.
yeah, that was another really interesting topic and great conversation. So thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you.
And yeah, so until next time, and we'll be doing our weekly things. And yeah, just thank you to everybody. Like it means so much to us when we see the likes and the comments and the views. So really super appreciate that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks, Trish.
All right. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.